What's up, gang? This is Dominic D'Angelo of adfreeshows.com, SEScoops.com, and OneTrueSportTV.com. I'm here today. It's Rumor and Innuendo. Robert is on assignment, so I will be previewing AEW Dynamite today, as well as covering a little bit of usual topics we don't cover. Want to talk about NXT a little bit. I was very happy with a certain somebody that I saw on that program last night, and wanted to give my input, my experience, and thoughts on that certain debut. But yes, we got the Dynamite to preview, but want to give some shout outs to some folks here like Johnny Disco. Good morning, R&I made it in time for the intro. Oops, all Dom. Hopefully that's a good sign. Good thing. Flying solo. That's right. Jennifer V. Don't know who you are at all, but welcome to the show. Dre Owens, TK, please stop with eliminator matches and just do number one contender matches with deserving people. Good afternoon. Well said, Dre Owens. Well said. I very much agree with you on that. And Antonio Santos says, R&I injected in my veins. So, hey, Johnny Disco reaffirms, at least appeases me and says, oh, it's a good thing. I appreciate it, Johnny. Appreciate it, man. But should be a good show today. Lots of fun stuff and topics to cover. Wanted to get your guys' feedback on certain things when it comes to what you think. What overall did you think about AEW All Out? What is your expectations for tonight? Do you hope some big stuff happens? Do you hope, what is this John Moxley thing going on? I have very much my thoughts on all that, and we'll give that today as we move down the road here. But did want to start with NXT and the NXT debut. It was an anonymous person. Who was it going to be? Who was Tony D'Angelo? Part of the family. Who was he going to introduce as his heater against Obafemi? And, I got some family connections, me and the D'Angelos, obviously. So Tony picked me up a little bit. And I have a little connection there in Alex Hammerstone. Yes. So obviously this is all kayfabe stuff. But when it comes to Alex Hammerstone, I've known Alex for several years. Very much one of the good guys in pro wrestling, and I probably the guy I've interviewed the most with out of anybody. I think I've probably interviewed him a total of 6 times, but I've been fortunate to work for MLW for the past 5 years, doing their social media, writing up their recaps, and a lot of the times I would go on site and help out with live events that they do. Particularly when they go to Philadelphia. When they were in Dallas, I did that as well for WrestleMania weekend 2 years ago, whatever it was, 3 years ago. But Alex Hammerstone has always been a favorite person of mine to work with. And so seeing him come out on NXT as the heater against Obafemi was such a cool moment, because I know how hard and how passionate this guy is when it comes to the wrestling business. He is very much a throwback to pro wrestling, and what you kind of envision for a wrestler that was really flourishing in a mid-90s, the physique of that, the identity. He very much plays in and leans into the Hulk Hogan vibes in certain ways. Has a lot of fun with that. But Alex is very good on the microphone, and he's very good in the ring. He is very adaptable in the ring when it comes to working with all types of talent. And so him going up against Obafemi, I think he really got a chance to shine that stuff and showcase what he's capable of. Even at TNA Emergence, he was a part of the Ultimate X match. And, the X division is always up for interpretation when it comes to, so you see guys like in history like Samoa Joe be a holder of that title, and so on and so forth. And so Alex Hammerstone being in that match made a lot of sense. I got to speak with Laredo Kid yesterday in an interview, and we talked about working with a bigger man like Alex Hammerstone and what he's able to do. But I can't express how much star power Alex is capable of, because You look at guys, you look at somebody like a Braun Breaker who's on the roster and really flourishing in that Intercontinental Championship kind of anti-hero role. Definitely a heel right now, but kind of that anti-hero role. And Alex is cut from the same cloth, where it comes to he's got a personality, he's got the attitude, he's got the mindset for it all. He knows how to handle himself, whether it's in public situations or media engagements or in the ring. A great deal in the ring. Um, MLW made him the face of the company, him and Jacob Fatu, both at the same time, a lot of ways. There was a transition of sort, a passing of the torch of source that went on in MLW, and it was both. It both involved Jacob Fatu and Alex Hammerstone. Um, he uh, ended up beating Fatu for the title at Fightland, I think 2021, and then held it for well over a year. Was their flag bearer. And you know what? He was great. There was moments where he was the big baby face. There was moments where the crowd would turn on him and he would be playing the heel role in certain ways. But nonetheless, um, something that I very, very much what Hammerstone does when it comes to his mindset on the business is he's very protective of his finisher, the Nightmare Pendulum. And it's one of the best finishers in all of pro wrestling. Um, there's only a select few that really protect their finisher nowadays. Kenny Omega is one. Baron Corbin was one for a time until I can't remember who kicked out of it at WrestleMania, but somebody kicked out of the end of days at WrestleMania a couple years ago. If somebody knows who that is, let me know. But Hammerstone, very protective of the Nightmare Pendulum, and I think I always talk about how great that is when I interview him and stuff like that, and I love that aspect of it. But the only person he's allowed to kick out of it was Jacob Fatu, and so it's very serendipitous that Alex Hammerstone was debuted on NXT last night, and so did Jacob Fatu. Pretty cool. If you know the rivalry that these two had in MLW, I think it's their signature rivalry the company has had so far is Fatu and Hammerstone, and there's a reason for that. You can the work that the matches that these guys put on in the ring with one another exemplified why those were the top stars for them and why Court Bauer put his chips behind those two guys. And it's really neat to see them. Time moves on, companies change. So Hammerstone's getting his shot in TNA while Fatu is really getting the highlight put on him in WWE. I'm trying to say it in the proper manner and not in my Pittsburghese. But what they've been able to do has been super cool. It's neat to see this kind of come full circle. And I'm so happy that Hammerstone got the spotlight on NXT and hopefully introduced a whole new plethora of eyes onto him because he is very capable. And what WWE has been doing with Braun Breaker to an extent too with Bronson Reed, Hammerstone fits that mold. Hammerstone is somebody that I would love to see go into the WWE ranks, and he can really, really make a name for himself. And you establish a new star in certain ways. So cool the history of Hammerstone when it comes to what he started off as. The crazy thing was, he was one of my first interviews. WrestleMania weekend 2018. It was Battle Riot 2. I interviewed Tom Lawler. To be forthright, too, I freaking did not have the recorder on, so it was like my first "damn it, Dom" moment. Was I interviewed Tom Lawler and I didn't even record the interview. But then the PR guy at the time was like, "Hey, how about you want to interview like a newer talent?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure." And he's like, "We have this new guy, Hammerstone. Yeah, how about him?" And I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So interviewed him, talked about who his fandom was and stuff like that at the time. He talked about how he was a big fan of Triple H and how Triple H really inspired him. He talked about how he really liked Chris Jericho from the 90s and everything like that, or early 2000s and everything, and what he learned going from them. And then he started off with the Dynasty, with Richard Holiday, with MJF, And it was seriously my favorite faction in MLW and still is. It's one of my favorite factions of all time, actually, if I'm being forthright, because all those three together had such chemistry where you took them legitimately, but they were very, very funny. There was a segment I will always remember where it was the Christmas time, and MJF had the idea. It's like, hey, let's have a dynasty gift train. And so uh they all came up with gifts for everybody that they would do, and they were presenting them backstage. And I can't remember if it was Holiday or it was Hammerstone, but whoever it was introduced a mini MJF to to MJF as their gift. And it was just this shorter dude that kind of looked like MJF and had the Burberry scarf on. And MJF was like, dude, this is BS. It was so this is dog s as they wanted to say on here. I can't swear on here. But really great stuff. So Hammerstone is well rounded. He's had several matches with so many different people and so many different styles, from Davey Boy Smith to like I said, Jacob Fatu. He's worked in Japan. He's cut his teeth, and it's a well earned aspect. I hope people really took note of him while he was there in Orlando. I hope HBK dog-eared him, because I tell you what, that's another star in the making is Alex Hammerstone, and you like to see that. All those three guys, Holiday, MJF, obviously, and Hammerstone, they are capable of so much more. Want to see a lot more from him, whether that's in TNA or sometime in NXT. We'll have to wait and see, though. Let's get some feedback here. Oh, how about that, Alt Jake? Yeah, you must be in Arizona. Alt Jake says Alex Hammerzone is a local in my city. Great dude, he is. If you followed his social media saga several years back with the geese, some all-time stuff right there, some all-time content right there. Some other feedback. The Wrestling Old Head. I would love it if Hangman got Magnum TA as a psychotherapist for a scene, or at least Tully Blanchard. You know what? I might have a connection there. I could maybe see what I can facilitate, so to speak. Yes. Okay. That was Drew McIntyre. I think you're right, Wrestling. The only person to kick out of Corbin's end of days was Drew McIntyre. Hey, very appropriate considering what he's doing. Wrestling Old Head also adds, I agree, Dom. Very excited that Hammerstone got 10 NXT. He's well due for an opportunity to shine. I was a fan of Hammerstone, Richard Holiday, and MJF stable in MLW. Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. Devin Dowling says versus the Hearts versus Von Erichsen versus Contra. Fun few years of MLW. Yeah, it very much was. They had some great rivalries there, set up some really intriguing feuds that we're going to see, I think, come full circle in certain ways. You know, you think Jacob Fatu's there. In the Hearts, you had Davey Boy Smith Jr., but you also had Brian Pillman Jr., Alexis King now, and now the Von Erichs, obviously in AEW. So some cool potential there stuff. Yes, Phoenix, that's right. And Jake reaffirms that it was Drew at WrestleMania 38. Yeah, I was there for that. Hey, how about that? Same time I was there for MLW. Good stuff. Good stuff. When are we getting Moose in NXT? I think that's somebody they're holstering for a little bit. You know, they're going to keep that in their back pocket. Moose is such a talented dude, very athletic in the ring, has such a look about him that I think they are going to hold off maybe for a little bit. Could he be the next guy that goes up against Obafemi? That would be very interesting. There's some possibilities there. You know, there's definite possibilities there. Will he be the one to finally really make, pun not intended, an impact and win an NXT title? That would be very interesting too. A TNA guy with the NXT gold. That would be something else. Yes, all Jake. That Hammerstone Fatu match was on Vice. I watched that 3 times. Awesome match. It was amazing. Amazing stuff, guys. Go out of your way to try to seek out those matches. Hammerstone is very proud of his rivalry with Jacob Fatu. Those guys have a special bond with one another, and you can definitely tell that in the ring as well. So, yeah, a lot of people were thinking it was Moose that was Tony D was talking to. And people thought it was Omos, who's, I mean, a lot taller than that. So for it to be Omos, that would have been something else. But I'm very, very happy it was Hammerstone. Very happy for him. So congratulations to him. Guys, you think about all these players that come into play, whether that's in NXT, whether that's in TNA. Hey, AEW, there's a lot of stuff going on over there. And it's hard if you're doing the fantasy football aspect to try to keep track of all the players and keep track of what stats there are and who you should kind of go with. Well, guys, let me tell you about DraftKings Pick Six. You can download the Pick Six app right now on your phone, and then you can make your picks for who you want, a certain player. Will they achieve over the passing yards that they're certain destined to make, or under? What you got to make the pick, and you pick at least 3 players, and then you can go from there. I did it last week. It was a lot of fun. And yeah, all you do is download the app, use promo code Rumor. You get a $5. And when you put in $5 there, you get a $50 bonus so that you can use. It's a really, really fun. It's a cool way to kind of get yourself engaged into the football week. Another element if you're a big NFL fan, but it's not just limited to NFL. You can do outside, you can do MLB, you can do NBA coming up, NHL. Lots of possibilities for that. You help out the podcast by downloading the DraftKings Pick Six app and then using the promo code Rumor. We're big fans of DraftKings, Rob and I both. I use the sports book all the time. So have a lot of fun with that. It adds a whole other element to watching football, baby. So yes, go to DraftKings Pick Six, download that app on your phone, and use promo code Rumor to get the little discount going on. Devin Dowley. Something. There should be fantasy pro wrestling. Like every company involved wins points by hitting finishers, winning matches in specific ways, holding titles for a long time, etc. I think it'd be fun. It would be fun. It would be such a boy. What? Imagine being the statistician for that though. Like keeping track. Okay, who's going to hit a finisher? How many points you get for that? How many points you get for I don't know, like an interference? Or there's a lot of elements that come into play with all that. Lots and lots of elements. But yeah, let's get some feedback before I dive into the Dynamite preview of what you guys kind of think. Let's see. Yeah, I think it should be an interesting follow-up. We're gonna get John Moxley live. Here's my issue. My initial concern with all this. People were very upset about the plastic bag. I wasn't as upset because Terry Funk and Ric Flair set a precedent before, but Robert made a compelling case about it being like, hey, you're trying to get TV advertisers and doing plastic bag spot. How much does that really help you? I mean, come on. It's like, you want to make things feel extreme, but you've pushed the envelope so much in all your matches that you've done that you had to resort to something like this to make it stand out. But in the same turn, you get this ick factor with it. Like, don't like seeing that. That's very unsettling. And hey, I would have been more okay with it if like Mox didn't keep the bag on as long, like did it to kind of make him lose his breath and then beat him up a little bit. There would have been a little bit more, not only believable, but a little bit more digestible. And then you think about, later on with the needle spot too. It's also something that is a little unsettling too. So there is some fun stuff here on this card though. So let's go over it, huh? John Moxley, like I said, is set to appear. Oh, yeah. But before that, let me talk about what I was concerned about, what this concerns me with. So we have what really appears to be a heel faction that John Moxley is forming after attacking Danielson, whether that's the Blackpool Combat Club as a team, but is Moxley trying to recruit other members? I mean, he has Marina Shafir by his side. He's trying to get Darby Allin from how it seems. Who else is involved? Is this lead into Shane McMahon showing up? Either way, the concern about this is now you have 2 heel factions at the top of your card when it comes to the Elite, and now it comes to John Moxley. If John Moxley is sick of Tony Khan being his company, well, you also must be sick of the Elite being a part of this too, right? Right? So where is your grudge at necessarily? Where does this stop and end? like the Young Bucks clearly have not done things favorably for when it comes to the authority figures in it. Um, Christopher Daniels has kind of been the surrogate for the voice of reason when it comes to an authority figure. When it comes to like Tony Khan and everything like that, yes, and like Devin Down said, Jack Perry, good kid. See, I thought that was just a red herring. Like, hey, you're a good kid. I'm coming after you later on, though, Jack. Watch out. But no, it wasn't. It doesn't seem to be that way. Um, are they going to be the bigger faction that overtakes um, the Young Bucks and the Elite and kind of gets rid of their heelish identity when it comes to that? Will greater forces have to combine to try to combat this new faction potentially that Moxley is building when it comes to this takeover? Uh, what I don't like about it, though, is like I said, you all right now have two heel factions going at the same time, where it's like it would make more sense, right, if Moxley was creating a babyface faction to rebel against what the Young Bucks are doing, what Tony Khan is not doing, certain things like that. That would have made more sense. Uh, there's a lot of just stuff going on. Yeah, does this indicate a Ronda Rousey showing up? I don't know. She's pregnant, so no, I would say not wrestling old head. So no, I would say not. Now that I think about that, but good kind of thought about that in there for sure. Um, yeah, I'm not. It'll be interesting to see what Moxley has to say. He's been very cryptic, obviously, to that without these past few weeks. I don't think this storyline has really hit the right notes and build to this even before All Out. Um, and so they're kind of got some work to do to make this make sense and to make this feel like a big deal. Because right now it just feels like, is this another lost storyline? It almost feels like, oh my gosh, we're getting close to the devil angle. We're not there yet, but there's certain indications where it's like, where's everybody's head at on this, and what's going to be the payoff? I'm not, I'm not putting it in that category yet, but I'm having early trepidation about what they're doing and how this has all been executed. So, and that's me not even completely hating the whole freaking plastic bag angle. Um, what else we got on tap here? We got the tag team casino gauntlet match. Excited for this. Really excited for this. This has been obviously, Tony Khan has not come up with a whole lot of matches, like new matches of his own accord here. I mean, you have Blood and Guts, which harkens back to War Games, and you have the brass ring ladder match, and obviously the casino battle royal, which is very akin to a Royal Rumble. This is very different, and I think his best gimmick match he's ever come up with. And it'll be interesting to see a tag team casino gauntlet match. Funny thing, I produced the Matt Camp show, the Matt event it's called. Go check it out if you'd like. It's also on YouTube. It's on at a different time than this, so I feel okay to plug it. But he mentioned how cool it would be to have a team upset the Young Bucks like the Outrunners. The Outrunners have been, Robert said it on here, like a fever dream to watch and to kind of enjoy. And he really actually enjoyed them when he watched Collision. I think that would be a great move to get the title off the Young Bucks. They're really not doing anything for the tag titles right now. They aren't. And they're arguably your best tag team that you have, your most popular tag team that you have, aside from FTR and what have you. But I think this would be a good way to establish a tag team division. And hopefully this is the right indication is what Tony Khan's doing with this tag team gauntlet. Make this, establish some new teams, get some eyes on these new teams that people haven't seen if they haven't watched Collision, if they haven't watched ROH, if they haven't watched Rampage. This is your opportunity. I really think you want to establish yourself as the wrestling promotion for tag team wrestling. People like it. People like friends. I like having friends. Robert's my friend. Anywho, yes. So I think a tag team gauntlet match would be great. is a good move. Hopefully, they showcase some new teams and have a lot of fun with it. Maybe the Outrunners. We also have Mariah May. World. This is what I think. Who was it that said something about? Oh, was it Dre? Yeah, with Dre was saying about the eliminator match. We're having another eliminator match. Why? This is don't. I'm very frustrated too, Dre. This is infuriating. Okay, so it's Mariah May not defending her AEW Women's Championship against somebody we haven't seen, but who is very talented, in Queen Amanada in an eliminator match. So, what does this indicate to you? Is this going to be the next contender for Mariah May? Will she get the win? Uh Maybe, but if they're following suit of what they've been doing, this is just a filler match for Mariah May. Um, don't like it. If you're gonna have a match, make it for the title. Um, or don't make it an eliminator match, right? Just don't have that on there. Isn't an eliminator match kind of unnecessary? You don't if you beat this person in a singles match, aren't you owed a title shot anyways? So, yeah, I think it's redundant was the word I'm looking for. But, Queen Amada is very talented. She's very good in the ring. This should be a fun match to watch. I hate eliminator matches. It's so bad. It was something I hated when WWE would do it too. It's gross. Don't like it. Don't like it. What I do like though is Ricochet going up against Sammy Guevara. That's gonna be a fun one, right? Uh, Sammy is a very polarizing individual from a personality standpoint, and from what has happened in the ring with a lot of people. On several occasions, he's hurt the Hardy Boys and things like that. But I do like Sammy, and I think what he's able to do in the ring is very, very fun and innovative. So him going up against Ricochet is a fresh, refreshing match to have, and will showcase both talents, particularly Ricochet, who has been heating. They went right to it with him and Osprey at All Out. So that'll be very fun to see. Also, very fun match. AEW TNT Championship. Jack Perry taking on Lio Rush. Yeah, you want to kind of reestablish this TNT title. I think that's pretty important to do. So Jack Perry battling somebody as athletic as Lio Rush is, who is also very polarizing, will be a fun match. And I think make a big deal out of this. Kind of not make a big deal, but I would say kind of establish the TNT championship a little bit, get eyes on that belt again and make it feel like it kind of used to do. You got a lot of work to do when it comes to that. I'll say it again. I just consolidate a lot of these freaking belts. Please do us all a favor here. Yes. A slappable Guevara. That's a great way to put it. Hey, Devin's going golfing. Have fun. Happy birthday to your buddy. Wrestling Old Head says, I agree, Dom. It's all about execution and follow through. AEW gets tangled in knots trying to tie everything together in storylines. It speaks to, maybe how that process is behind the scenes, Wrestling Old Head. You look at, from what I heard, there's over 20 people that give creative input behind the scenes. Now, that's just what I heard. I can't confirm that, can't anything. I think Tony's maybe indicated something to that effect, but I've heard several names. I heard him rattle off 6 or 7 names during a media call one time about who was behind the creative scenes. Really want to hone in and get a few select groupthink on who you could get a brain trust. Just off the top of my head, my bald head, Bryan Danielson, Mike Mansouri, Dean Malenko potentially. And I would throw maybe a Jake Roberts in the mix. Right? Oh, Jennifer Pepperman too, obviously. 5 people. 5 people that can sit around a table, hash it out, create some fun stories, maybe split the teams up. Get 2 here, get a creative mind like Jake Roberts, This is all just off the top of my head. Like Jake Roberts and Jennifer Pepperman. Wow, what strange bedfellows. That could make it for a great program. Hey, can you guys kind of create an identity for Collision? Or, hey, let's go the hour. You can do Rampage. Mike Mansuri, Brian Danielson, and then Dean Malenko help us set up AEW Dynamite. Those are just names I'm throwing out there that you're getting different perspectives of how everybody views. Jennifer Pepperman's got the soap opera background. Jake Roberts has that pro wrestling background. Maybe get her, Jake Roberts, and Mike Mansuri all together, because Mike Mansuri knows how to operate a show. He knows how all that stuff works out. Another great wrestling old head chimes in with Dustin Rhodes. He would be an awesome person to have give input. Who's very passionate, who's very loyal to AEW. Get somebody like that in there that can really give you perspective and knows the roster in and out as well. Either way, yes, split these up. Make sense. You can have too many cooks in the kitchen. We've seen that happen before. And then Tony obviously gets the final say. Whatever happens, okay, I like this. Let's do this. Let's remove that. Let's refine some of this. Tony's just got to be willing to do that, doesn't he? That's been, I think, his Achilles heel so much. Very exciting times. Intrigued to see what this follow-up will be when it comes to All Out. I thank you for joining me today. If you like to see me on further programming, you can check me out on One of a Kind with RVD. Go to rvdtv.com and you can check out the newest episode there. Rob reveals some stuff about Dark Side of the Ring and his involvement with that, particularly the plane ride from hell episode. Man, he breaks some news. He does break some news. So go to rvdtv.com. You can check out that. You can hear his thoughts on Hangman Page. Who does Hangman remind him of? He also he follows up about the Vince McMahon documentary after seeing the trailer of it, and gives some cool perspective on that too. So go to rvdtv.com. You can check out that show, and you can check out Right Down the Middle with Bill Alfonso on there too. We recorded an episode last week. A lot of fun always talking to Fonzie and talking about his Cauliflower Alley Club induction and his award that he got for being a referee. Really cool stories there. Check that out. This week, we'll return with Gagne and Magnum. Straight Talk with the Boss. We will be chatting about some storyline developments and stuff like that, I think. And hey, we always might cover that Andre the Giant. That's been our white whale on it. So go to fourhorsemannetwork.com or go to onetruesporttv.com. You can check all that out there. Finally, yes, Working Stiff. Robert and Scott will be recording a new episode this week after they probably watch Dynamite and all that stuff. So they'll give all their thoughts on there. So funny. Such a great show. I'm happy to produce that show. So go to check out that on Working Stiff on your podcast feed of choice. But you can check us out on the Ad Free Shows YouTube channel, on the Rumor and Innuendo YouTube channel, on the Working Stiff YouTube channel, on SE Scoops' X account, and on WD Creative _ish X account. That's Robert's X account if you weren't aware. And you can also give us 5 stars. 5 stars on your podcast feed of choice. That's where you can get the audio later today if I remember to post it. I will remember to post it. I'm on the ball. I might be a complete mess, but I'm an organized mess. And hey, I will see you tomorrow here on Rumor and Innuendo with Robert to talk a little bit of the Dynamite. Best of luck in your future endeavors. And go Hammer, go, baby.